Welcome to Base and Boundaries podcast. I'm your host, Amy G, and this is your one-stop shop for all things mental health and music. Good morning, everyone, or wherever you are in the world. My name's Amy. Welcome to Base and Boundaries. I'm joined by, I'm not going to introduce you how I wanted to because, we're on a basis today. But I'm here with the amazing Tim Wild. Hello, my lovely. How are you?
Morning, Amy. I'm all right, my lovely. How are
Good.
you? Happy Saturday. Happy
Happy
Saturday, everybody.
Saturday.
Happy sunny Saturday as well.
Very hot
Even better.
Saturday.
Being
Absolutely.
being English, we can grizzle about this heat, can't we?
We're allowed. I think we get
Yeah,
like a free pass to be able to do that, definitely. So,
absolutely. Well, I was watching actually on YouTube the other day. It's like a string of people from lands that we would consider just to be permanently on fire, like Australia, like really hot country. And they say when they come to England, the heat hits differently here, and it
yeah,
does. So we have cause to moan.
absolutely. And the amount of people that have commented on my post, I mean, I've got people from Germany and even like Denmark going, we've come to your country. You are
Yeah.
not equipped for this. Like, what
No,
are you? Like,
no.
so it makes a great sort of, we get a green card now for, we're allowed to moan. We're entitled to do so. So.
It's the English thing to do.
It is. So I would love you to tell everybody I would know what you do, but tell everybody what it is that you do.
Do you know what? I get asked this a lot, Amy, and I kind of struggle to put it into context. I suppose
Mm,
if I'm being absolutely honest, I am a spiritual teacher, guide, um, teacher, uh, light worker,
mm,
crystal enthusiast,
mm.
and on some days, bag of nonsense. Depends on which day you catch me on, really. So yeah, it's my point of focus is to assist with the ascension process on this planet, which is very much, as far as I'm concerned, a reality.
Mm.
We're in the second half of the ascension process, which spans 2 decades, a ridiculously small space of time. Began on the cosmic moment, the 21st of December 2012, and is due to have concluded its primary kind of shift on the same. It will be the 21st of December 2032. So we are very much into the latter part of it, and things are getting very interesting. So,
You're
yeah.
telling me.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Juicy stuff, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I was trying to work out when we first connected. I believe it was around about 2016, 2017.
I believe it
And
was as well,
and
actually.
I'm
Yeah, it was
sure it
around.
was through Diana Cooper. I could be wrong, but I started on that journey of my spiritual awakening was in 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
When me and my ex-best friend, we watched a video about, oh my God, it's so cringe, like elitism in Hollywood and all of this. And it was like all this had the hand symbols, and that's what shot me awake.
Yeah.
And I then got given a pack of Rider-Waite Tarot in 2015 by one of my
Yeah.
friends. Couldn't for
Yeah.
the life of me figure them out, but then the Oracle card journey started. And then I remember finding you,
Hmm.
and I was like, I don't know what it is, but I needed to reach out, and I did. And then we went through COVID together.
Oh,
Same
yeah.
way.
Yeah. That's fun, wasn't
Uh,
it?
but I know a lot of like what you do as well is about frequency work, and
Mm.
obviously for the most part, I interview people that deal with music, that deal with those kinds of like for me, I go to like drum and bass raves, and the frequencies make me feel alive and actually very
Yes.
therapeutic for mental health. Um, what kind of frequencies are you dealing with? Like, what kind of music what's making you feel good?
Well, funnily enough, I was one of the original kind of party goers in the rave scene as it erupted in 1990,
I
1991.
believe that. I
Yeah.
believe that.
I can remember being up at Farnborough College. I mean, I missed the acid house beginnings of it in 1989. It wasn't really on my radar. But I can remember being in college in Farnborough, 1990 to 91. And a lot of my mates were hip hoppers. They were like really into the hip hop scene. like, you know, when hip hop was good back in the day. And all of a sudden they were talking about like this new rave scene that was coming in, and the guys that were like DJing, basically vinyl DJs, were beginning to move from the old school, like the rap, the hip hop, into mixing the early rave. And there were some of them that were like, you know, really, really good at it, were mixing the two together. And so I was there for the beginning of it. I used to go out in Bournemouth to a nightclub called Remix that a lot of the old Bournemouth sesh heads will remember very, very
I
well.
love that.
And the scene was just incredible. It was amazing. I know exactly what you mean by frequency and vibration, and that all, you know, chemicals aside, there was a huge amount of joy and togetherness and unity that was raised in that, in you know, the second summer of love, basically, which was 1991. 1992 was pretty special as well. And then around 1995, the kind of the powers that were began to see that this was
Mm.
becoming a on an energy level. And I've had this confirmed recently as well, Amy. The vibrations of happiness, joy, together, peace, unity, love, harmony that we all generated back in the day at the raves, that was used. No energy goes to waste, be it loose or be it love. And so all of this was being used, it was being harmonized, it was being collected.
Yeah.
And of course, the powers that were didn't like that, so they divided it up, they split it up, and then it got subgrouped. And I think a lot of people from that particular era will remember from '95 onwards, the rave scene changed and
Okay.
it became very fragmented. And there's kind of a really nice revival of my old school of music kind of
Mm.
coming through and up at the moment. So I'm not a party goer like I used to be, or I haven't been out or attended anything, but I do still regularly train my beloved sport, kickboxing, to sets made by DJs that I love still
Fair
to this
play.
day.
No, and it's one of them where I've noticed that the rave scene in particular has such a stigma attached to it with
Yeah,
substances and, you know, alcohol and stuff like that. And yet there are people like myself, we go sober, I go on my own.
yeah,
And when I'm in that moment and I'm absorbing that frequency of, oh, there's just like I say, that you said, there's pure joy. There's
hmm,
so much love for it, and everyone looks out for each other, even the ones
yeah,
that have
they
got
do.
like
Yeah,
saucepan eyes and all that. Like we all look out for each other, and it's
yeah,
but yet everyone stigmatizes it. Oh, if you like drum and bass, you must be into substances and stuff like that. So I think you're right in saying that, like that when the energy kind of changed, didn't it? And I mean, gosh, I was only toddling about in the 90s,
yeah.
but I speak to people all the time that were in that. I've got a DJ coming up that was in the 1992 scene, so that'd be really interesting to talk to them about as well, what their
Yeah.
take on it was.
Mm.
Um, so do you, I mean, yeah, if you're anything like me, I see at the moment there's so much. I mean, we knew negativity was bad anyway, but it is amplifying, I think, a lot more than it's ever done, especially this sort of conquer and divide kind of behavior.
The the way that I see it, Amy, is that it's what we're witnessing now has always been there. It's no worse
Mm,
and it's no better than it used to be, but it is now becoming extremely visible and very blatant. What happened last year was the unveiling or the demasking of the third eye, which
mm,
occurred, I'll tell you the exact date, 29th of March 2025. The I think it was particularly Merlin and the Intergalactic Council, who I work with closely, brought through a frequency of light that was designed to remove the last vestiges of the veils of amnesia from the third eye, not just for the light workers, but for everybody. So
mm,
everybody on this planet has had their third eye stripped away of any ability to self-delude. There can be there's no illusions, there's no masks anymore. So the powers that were that are getting increasingly frenetic because they're every single day that goes past, more people are unplugging from the matrix, which is catastrophic for them, and they know it. You
yeah.
know, they're They're doing everything they can to make sure that they cling on to whatever power that they possibly can, which is, we can see it failing all miserably before our very eyes, which is,
Mm.
that's a little bit joyful. Let's be honest about it.
Of course.
But what's happened is it's now brought that behaviour, the things that were hidden previously,
Mm.
into our line of sight. And a lot of people are very traumatized by this because they had no idea it was going on, or if they did, they chose to ignore it. Now they cannot ignore it anymore. So rather than it being increased, the visibility is now 100%. We can see it everywhere. The behavior is blatant. The shadow is directly in the glaring light of the sun.
Yep.
And we're all having to deal with this. It's the most intensive, visible, hectic, energetically pressurized aspect that we could ever be moving through on this planet. But the good
Mm.
thing is it cannot last forever.
No, and that's the best reality of it, isn't it? Because I mean, for people like me and you that have been going through this process a long time, like waking
Mm,
up, I have fallen into traps before where I'm like, "Ooh, that could work for me." I go down
mm.
that avenue. I become completely indoctrinated and thinking,
Yeah.
"Oh no, that's not going to work." So I leave that. And then, but recently I found personally, in my own life, the veil is lifting to the point where people are uncomfortable.
Oh,
So
yeah.
when when somebody is I've noticed this a lot in the work that I do. If you have an individual that is being abused by somebody, like let's
Mm,
say for instance domestic abuse, and this individual starts talking about it, they start being loud about it, they're going, I'm being abused, I need help, this is, and you're going to have people, friends, family, colleagues, whatever, that go silent,
yeah.
and they say nothing because they're uncomfortable.
Mm,
But by you being uncomfortable, by you being quiet and not helping that individual, I look at it as you're actually amplifying the problem,
mm.
because
Absolutely.
who can these people talk to? But then on the other side of it, with what we know about people waking up to everything that's going on,
Mm,
do you think it is because they're so uncomfortable because this is all new information that people can be arseholes, people can be evil, and
mm.
I honestly, I see a lot of especially in the Christian community, a lot of people saying, "Oh, people have got like demonic possession." I don't believe that. I genuinely believe that some people are not human and they're here to cause a bloody carnage.
Yeah. There's an interesting mixture of souls on this planet at the moment, so to speak.
Mm,
There's the I do completely concur with you on the fact that there are beings here that are not of human origin. There's, I mean, we could all say that we're star seeds by origin initially, but there are some non-human humans kind of waddling about on this planet,
mm.
and that again, that in its own is difficult for people to get their heads around. If you take your average normal person, and I say normal person in inverted commas because none of us are
No
normal.
one's normal.
We're all special, aren't we, down here? All 8 billion of us. And so, yeah, if you it's the way that I used to liken waking up suddenly, and all
Mm,
wake ups now are sudden, Amy. They're not like it was back in my day or maybe your day, where we got a
feel
little bit of a
alive.
grace period. You could kind of you could move through it. Not necessarily a comfortable experience by any stretch, but you
Bloody
had time.
horrible.
Yeah, exactly. It's always usually some kind of life or a catastrophic turn of events that would launch you into your spiritual journey. But now that's even more heightened. I mean, it is literally like being one person one day, then having a bag put over your head, and then being dumped in a field, having the bag removed. You change planets basically, and the
Yeah.
people around you are different. This is the level of consciousness switch that we're seeing. But once people have accepted that, their level of understanding and their ability to deal with what they're being presented with is extremely high. So they're learning to do what we learn over years in a matter of days and weeks. which I find is absolutely incredible. But then you've got the other side of it where you've got people who are genuinely in shock.
Yeah.
They are looking at this world with eyes with no mask on it, and they cannot fathom what they are witnessing
Mm.
energetically, physically, spiritually. They're being bombarded consistently with sources of information that they used to trust, but are
Mm.
completely and utterly untrustworthy now. And this goes on. We are in a place now where people like you and me are, it's absolutely essential that we are adhering to the promptings of our mission and our pathway, regardless of what that is, whether it's assisting people to stand up and speak their truth if they have been in positions where they've been abused, or
Mm.
standing up to teach, lead, and guide the others that are beginning to get the inklings of where they're going and what they're doing. The planet needs leaders, it needs teachers, but it doesn't need them in positions of elevation like it used to be. You know, the
Yeah.
pulpit, the soapbox, the guru, all of these kind of scenarios, they're outworn, they're outdated, they're a third dimensional concept of an energy. Everything has to be together, it has to be relatable. And I'm seeing a real coming together of hearts and minds now. Not, you know, not just within the rave community, but within communities as a whole. This is where the real gold lies within our process, is the coming together. But you wouldn't have this unless the situation outside had become distinct as unpleasant as it has.
Mm.
It with the pressure was necessary to create the diamonds. Otherwise, we'd have just stayed where we were. Let's face it. When you're comfortable, you don't move. And that's life.
And I've noticed I'm around people that are they aren't moving. They don't want to move, and then
Mhm.
they feel threatened by you moving.
Mm.
And I find that really remarkable. You know, I said in a previous podcast I'm what was called a job jumper,
Yeah, yeah,
whereas
yeah.
I go from job to job because I don't fit. I'm not sure why I don't fit in. I don't know why this situation keeps happening where I'll start a job, it's going great, and then something will go wrong and it alters the whole dynamics of it.
Yeah.
And then I am like, I need to remove myself from this place. I don't know why. I say I loved my current the job that I just had, and I just had this I need to quit mentality. I need to leave.
Mm.
And I left, and it's the best thing I've ever done because now I can go and do this. I can go and teach people, help people, which I believe is my mission here. I need to help
Yeah.
people and support people. But it's really refreshing. I think it was since COVID. You know, like before, people were so like the news would put something out,
Mm.
and I know this is kind of surface level stuff, but like you've got the news, someone will go, "Oh, this and this is going on in the world," and people will go, "Oh my, no, no," and now
Mhm.
since COVID, people are like, I see you in the comments sometimes. I'm like, like it's
I
when
can't
people.
help myself. I have to because
I know
it's it's more entertainment than anything else. Because it's just when you see the desperation in the propaganda, and it is propaganda. That's exactly
Mm,
what it is. It's
mm,
going out. It's in countries like Canada, Australia, United Kingdom, Europe. But the comment sections are all the same, and it is so refreshing. It
it
really
is
is.
because
Unless
we're
it's a
all.
bot-filled website, people commenting are indicating the massive surge of wake-up consciousness, and it's great.
It's
It's
beautiful.
lovely.
It's such a beautiful thing to witness. I mean, like even people in my family that I never thought would see through it. And they're going, actually, I'm reading between the lines here. I'm owed
Mm.
so many apologies, by the way, especially from the COVID era. I am owed so many
Yeah.
apologies. But I think so many of us just went into pure survival mode because nobody really knew what was going on. And I think since then, there has been this conscious shift. Like I used to be
Mm.
religious. I used to be heavily religious. And now I'm like, no, I'm not. I just think there's so much to it that we don't understand. And it was actually me reading the Gnostic texts that,
Mm.
oh, wow, it just blew it wide open. I was like, wow, okay, there is more to this than I think. There is more that I don't think we will ever understand until we
Yeah.
are not on the planet anymore. And I think it's a beautiful thing.
There's a lot to be said in that, I'm seeing a lot of people paradoxically through almost like knee-jerk reactions of fear to their environment returning to religion
Mm, mm,
almost. And the fact that you've explored that, you've dipped your toes in the pond, you've experienced it, and you've seen firsthand what it has to offer, what it has not, and what it doesn't have to offer as well, paradoxically. um you've had a good, you've had a good run of experience from what I've seen, Amy, all the way through this. You've explored all of these different angles. You've seen much of the spiritual field from different perspectives, which is
mm.
great. But the work that you're coming into now, the what you were talking about earlier on about the assistance, it reminds me of a quote that Archangel Michael gave me recently. Um, and it is kind of almost a quote from a film. I've heard it spoken in films before. It's from the biblical era. Speak your truth, even if your voice shakes, under fear of death, under fear of persecution, under fear of ridicule. That's where we all are at the moment. Well, I'm me personally. I've been in contact with the higher realms on a permanent basis since I began doing this. They've recently changed their tone in the last year. There's
Uh-oh.
you describe yeah, you described the figure that you met recently, the Archangel Michael slash
Yeah.
Archangel Jeremiah type of figure. That's what I've been presented with, and we are being told, or rather, um, or instructed even to begin to really put our money where our mouths are as far as this is
Mm,
concerned. We've been talking for years about freedom and sovereignty and self-reliance and the removal from the matrix for years now. We've had years and years of preparation for this. And now they're like, right, okay, this is the year. This is your window of opportunity. If you're going to do it, you do it now, because it's an optimum level. And so what Archangel Michael said in November, which really stuck with me, he said, make no agreements, contracts, or platitudes with those that seek to control the world without love in their hearts. So if you break that down, it says stop agreeing to
mm.
things that insult your soul, make no agreements, contracts, or platitudes, meaning keeping them happy, with those that seek to control the world without love in their hearts, meaning it's collapsing, step back from it. And
I love that.
it was powerful words, and he's been coming through more and more often with this. That there's enough of us now to make a big difference.
There is, and I see it when I meet people. Like, I've met people in extraordinary circumstances, like right place, right time kind of moments. And you
Hmm.
like, I know you on a soul level. I can't explain it. I started doing telepathy, and
Okay.
people laugh at me, right? People genuinely take the mick, but it works every single time. Now
Yeah.
I've told people this and they've gone, oh no, it's just coincidence. But I will tell
Yeah.
you an
Right.
example. And so I did a telepathy with somebody that I don't speak to, not very often anyway, probably once a month, twice a month. If I'm looking, it's usually a few sentences.
Hmm.
And they were stood in my kitchen in this meditation, and I looked them dead in the face, a bit taller than me. And I went, you will contact me within 48 hours. And the thing is, I've tried to do telepathy before where there's been a blockage. It's like they're
Yeah.
blocking it, so it doesn't work. But this was an acceptance of this. Not even 36 hours after that, they contacted me. And I was like, I was at my mate's house and I dropped my phone and I went, oh my God. But obviously, like on a conscious level, they ain't got a bloody clue
No. No.
unless
No.
they're awake to it. But I doubt it. But on a subconscious level, I wish people would understand we are, for the most part, all connected.
Oh,
And
absolutely. There's no doubt about it. And it's what is things that I enjoy doing that I don't really kind of speak about a huge amount. And one of them is light worker spotting. We're
yeah.
if you look at, right, I'm going to throw a few percentages into the conversation now. We are at a point on this world, and these might sound like fantastic figures, but listen to how I break it down. We've got 62% of this planet at the moment that's been activated for the purposes of their ascension process. At
Yep.
62%, 38% of the planet's population are still in the dark. The ones that are going to wake up are still being highly resistant, and we can see
Mm,
them everywhere. Like they're just absolutely walls up, la la la, no no no, blah blah blah. We can't possibly do this. The program runs deep. There are going to be people on this planet who do not wake up.
mm,
That's their sole program. That's their sole choice.
yeah.
They've chosen to continue to learn at 3D because their soul is not ready to step through the ascension gateway. That's fine.
Mm,
Off you go to another planet where you will continue to learn under the kind of the rule set that we were born into. But the rest of us, so the 62% and rising, Amy, which is a massive amount of
it's a
people,
lot, isn't it?
it's
Yeah.
a lot, but the majority of that 62% aren't aware of it. Okay. And what I find
Right.
personally entertaining is that you can see these people everywhere now. They've made changes in their personal lives. They've made maybe dressing differently. They might be speaking differently. They might be taking action to make their world and the world around them a better place. They've changed their diet. They might have cut down their medicines. They're speaking a different
Mm,
language, but they're not aware of the fact they're actually doing this yet. I like clocking them because it's just for my own personal entertainment because you can see them and you can hear them everywhere. The level has risen, but nobody's noticed that it's risen because everybody's so busy with their lives
mm,
and how much this planet is throwing at us all. So we can see this everywhere. We can see the evidence of people waking up within the system, which is where again, this is where the gold lies. People that are within the kind of the structure of, say, like the government or the police
mm,
force and all of
yeah.
these, like they are not immune to these energies. They are not
Yeah.
immune to this process. They are as completely in the firing line for what's coming in from the cosmos as you and I are. And they have soul contracts, regardless of what they've agreed to do on an everyday basis.
Mm.
And I'm seeing it everywhere. I'm seeing it absolutely everywhere because I'm choosing to look for it. It's my point of focus.
It's
So
almost like when you're on the motorway and you're trying to spot a red Corsa, you'll start seeing them everywhere.
yeah, you
Like,
will. Yeah.
genuinely, my little game that I do is when I meet people face to face in real life, I look for the light in the soul
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
and I'll meet somebody and I'll go, "Good Lord, it's dead in there." Like, because it's not there's nothing radiating.
Hello, is anybody
Can't read
home?
them. You know what it is? What it reminded me of, and, it's so embarrassing, but it's the only way I can kind of, like, articulate it to people that are maybe, like, new to this. You
Mm,
know, like, if you ever watched the film Twilight,
mhm,
Bella and Edward couldn't read Bella. That's how I am with people that haven't got a soul. Like,
mm,
I'm like, "There's no in there, mate." Like, it's
mm.
just an empty vessel, and I think that some people it's because, like I say, they probably just haven't woke up to the reality of what
No,
is being presented to them,
no.
and and I think, like, I'll meet some people, and especially in, like, charity work, you'll get people that are so bloody toxic, and they're there
Mm.
for the superhero ego.
Yeah, yeah,
But not
yeah.
me, like, and then you'll meet people that genuinely have got the best souls, and you're like, you're so, like, they're, like, magnetic, you wanna be
Mm,
around them.
mm.
Um, but yeah, even people I've met in the music industry recently, you see the light in their eyes when they're
Oh, yeah.
talking about what they do. It lights up and you're like, you're here for that purpose. You're on your purpose. And it's an amazing thing to witness.
It's beautiful, isn't it? It really is. I mean, the music industry is filled with people that are waking up if it's the genuine
Mm,
industry. Another one which kind of surprised me when it happened was um the martial arts side,
mm,
that the the fight sports are full of highly awakened people.
yeah.
The dedication, the fitness, the camaraderie, the discipline, but it just seems to have a high percentage. And maybe that's just my point of focus because I'm a kickboxer and that's what I do to kind of decompress. I mean, originally when I was first doing this, it kind of clashed with the spiritual image kind of thing. Then I realized just
Yeah.
how much the two go together. They're hand in hand with each other.
Mm.
And you see the evidence of it absolutely everywhere. And you going further into all of the other sports and all of the other industries, all of these people are beginning to wake up.
Yeah.
And there's so much of it, depending on what you're into, what your point of focus is, and what you are looking at, because you need to be looking for these people. You need to be looking for the evidence of it to be able to see it. Otherwise, your point of focus will create your reality. Like you say, red course
Mm.
syndrome. If you believe that the motorway is full of red courses, then by indeed you will
Well,
be graced with them all day
everywhere.
long. Yeah.
Or the Team U Range Rovers. I'm so sorry, I had to drop one in there.
Yeah.
Oh, they're
Too many
terrible.
Range
You see 'em
Rovers.
everywhere. I had one up right up my backside the other day, and I was just like, "Just give it a rest, mate." It's probably crying getting up to speed, but there we are. I'm gonna upset someone with that one, but here we are.
Yeah.
You live and you
Third
learn.
gear, foot flat to the floor sort of thing.
Yeah. So I have a question then. So if somebody is listening, watching, and they're going, "How do I know if I'm waking up?" Like, what would you say would be the process? I mean, the first thing that I thought of when I was waking up, I don't fit in anywhere. That was
Absolutely.
the for me.
Well, the first indicator for me where anybody is waking up is the fact they're actually asking the question in the first place.
Mm,
It takes a jump shift in personal awareness to be looking inward enough to go, have I changed? Am I waking up? Am I like these people that I'm witnessing? Or have they got
mm,
nothing to do with you? Because your energy will define your experience and the boundaries of your reality on this world.
mm.
If you're vibrating at a certain frequency, the world around you will form to match that. So you will be, if you're not awake, then you will be surrounded by the frequency which reflects that. So once you start asking the question, am I awake? What's going on with me? You're there already, basically. Welcome to the
Yeah.
club. You'll get your little gold sticker. It's fun, great. Wait till the initiation start. We've got plenty of information out there about that. But you are
Mm.
basically, that's it. And there's no red pill either. You can't backtrack.
You
Once
can't
once
undo
you
it,
no,
sadly.
doesn't matter how much you want to kind of go back to the 80s where, films and music were cool and the clothes were shit and the hair was worse and everything like that, but nobody cared. Everyone was having a good time. That's never going to happen again on this world. Not in
No,
our timeline, not where
no,
we're
definitely
going.
not.
And I know a lot of light workers that do want to step out of it, but they can't because we're committed. Once you're on this pathway, you're committed. There's no going. You can't reverse an awakened consciousness. Once
No,
you've
you can't.
broken out of the matrix, that's it. No going back. So the first question to be asking is, what do I do with this? What's happening
Mm.
to me? What am I going through? Find somebody who knows what they're talking about,
Yeah,
basically. The first point of reference would be get your questions answered. If you've got questions, if you've got queries, if things are confusing you, find somebody who can answer those questions because we're not alone anymore. It's not like it was 10 years ago where you've got a proper go rooting around for light workers and stuff like that. It's people everywhere,
they're
be it your
everywhere.
local sound bath, be it your meditation community, be it a center that does healing. There's and plus social media as well. We
Mm.
criticize social media. We criticize Facebook, Amy, don't we? But without Facebook, we would not have interconnected this vast web of light so effectively. Whatever they created Facebook for, whatever nefarious kind of information gathering operation it was, it turned into the biggest connection of people
It
around
did.
this world. How do we gain our information and our news? I don't watch the news anymore. If I want to know what's going on, I'll just look at my news feed. And so,
Exactly,
you know what I
exactly, and
mean?
you'll see someone kicking off, yeah.
You'll see it all. You'll see it all. So there will always be someone or something near you that can prevent that. There was a period of what I called light worker isolation that occurred, and this was beginning sort of from 2012 to say
Yeah.
2018. There was these periods where we were dotted around everywhere,
Mm,
but we felt very isolated. We felt very alone. And if you're hearing
mm,
this, if you're listening to this and you're feeling that that is you, start reaching out to people, because
yeah.
there's no shortage of people doing this now who are beginning to act upon their promptings, beginning to put their information out there. Everybody's got something to share and something to teach. So,
Absolutely. And that was the biggest thing for me because in 2015 I was doing these readings and I would be going, I my little career then took off really bloody quick and it
you
was
got
frightening.
you were reading for some big people,
High
weren't you?
profile people. Yeah,
Yeah,
very high profile. And I kick myself for giving it up, and I hate the fact that I gave it up because I was at the YouTube studios in London, like rubbing
yeah,
shoulders with big people. But when you strip all that back, we are all the same, and no one's better than anybody else, and
no,
all that jazz. I know we laugh about it, but like realistically, no one is better than me, and I'm not better than anyone else. We're all kind of meant to
exactly.
be on the same level. But one thing that I had noticed even back then though is like I learned about when I came here, I chose my parents, which is funny, and I chose this life, and I
Mm.
said that when I leave this earth, I'm going to go to my creator and go, "What the hell was that?" Because I ain't going to any other planets, Tim.
Mm.
I ain't coming back here. I want to go be at peace, sip a margarita around really cool people and live my best life. I don't want to do this again. And I
No.
feel like Earth in particular, I mean, there's going to be people watching this going, there's not other planets, there's not this, but like each to their own, in my opinion. But I believe there's different it's called like what's it called? Where there's different versions of us existing at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. There's planes for reality all over the shop, and
Yeah, and I believe we do shift timelines, and I
we do,
believe that
we do.
things of like CERN, they've been mucking about with stuff. I mean, like the whole
They've had
if
a. I tell you what, they've had a good pop at it. So you've got to hand it to CERN.
mm,
They've really tried their very hardest. But again, it's a man-made machine against the might of the universe, and the universe is always going to win.
I watched a
It will
video
always.
on
So
TikTok about it, about like how CERN had done another experiment and like two versions of this Earth collided, and now things don't make sense and people are different and stuff like that. That could have happened. That may well have happened.
yeah,
But what I look at it as is that we're all waking up at like I say, at our different journeys at our different times. But when you look back at our lives and what we've experienced and what we've
mm,
been through, it's all bloody worth it.
yeah,
It
absolutely.
is. I mean,
Yeah.
I look back and I sometimes sit with it and I go, that relationship that lasted years that was abusive, or that job that did not serve me, or I gave up. I know I said it then, I gave up my career for a man. Why did I do that? And but I look back and I go, but I'd do it again
Mm, yeah.
because that pain's got me to where I am now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's it's the sole choices that, I mean, yeah, I can completely concur with going back to your team at the end of this and going, why did I sign that? It's almost like I've joked on several workshops that when we agreed to do what we're doing here on this planet at the moment, we must have been 4 pints in, when we signed on the dotted line. So like 20 years, yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, but you
And
really,
yeah,
yeah.
not a problem, because the funny enough, when you look at what we're doing here on Earth, we're jumping from an ego-based consciousness to a heart-based consciousness, and we're doing it in 20 years. 20 years might feel like a long time to a human being, but it's really not. It's like a
Mm,
Planck length on the kind of a great cosmic scale. The closest the closest comparison that we have to this was the Sirius constellation, which is now the learning planes, and they had the closest comparative experience on their worlds that we are going through in our current
mm.
system. And but when asked how long it took, they said 300 equivalent Earth years. So they're
Wow.
doing what we're doing in 20 years, in 300 years equivalently. And they said they still struggled in that space of time to deal with what was being presented to them. So what we're doing here on Earth at the moment is unprecedented. It's almost like something that we agreed to when we were drunk. And but we're doing it, we're nailing it, we're getting there. But when you also say that this is your, you know, your last rodeo here on Earth, like I think that's the same for a lot of us, because this is a master incarnation. Every single incarnation that you've had prior to this one, Amy, will have been in preparation for this event, because this
Mm,
event has been coming a long, long time on the cosmic calendar. This is why the powers that were all around the world, the ones that are desperately scrabbling, are so organized, because they've known it's coming from a long, long
makes
way
sense.
off. So
Yeah.
they've prepared for it. But you can't hadron collide yourself out of an ascension process. Doesn't matter what they build, doesn't matter what they do, doesn't matter how much propaganda they throw into it. They know what the end result is going to be.
They're
It's
just trying
almost
to
like they,
slow it down, aren't they?
yeah, they're just trying to
Effectively.
slow it down and basically cream as much of the energy away for where they're going to wind up, which isn't a
Mm,
particularly nice space if you think about it. It's damage limitation. What you're
yeah,
seeing outside in the world around us is damage limitation. It's not going to be the control grid that they believe, or we're being led to believe that it is. It's simply
exactly.
how much can we cream off this before we have to go. So this has been coming a long time. It's been designated long, long before you and I were even kind of part of the ball game. It's
So
crazy, really.
I did oh God, it was years ago. I did a meditation that basically sent me back to past lives and
Hmm.
like a regressions kind of thing. And I had quite a few, but the two in particular was a Victorian woman that was, well, I had a bit of a crap life, not gonna lie. And I was a bit like, I could have been born in a rich era, but okay, apparently I wasn't. I was just like kind of one that was trying to make ends meet with like 20 kids. And I was like,
Hmm.
well, it is what it is. But the other one was I was German and I was helping people during the war, like
Hmm.
given like sort of the Anne Frank kind of thing. And the Anne Frank story to me opened that part of me up. And I have this weird like gravitation to Germany. Never been, but I've
No.
got this weird pull. I need to go. I don't know why. And same with Denmark. I'm going to Denmark in August.
Oh,
And
lovely. Yeah,
I've never
you'll love
been.
it there.
I'm just going. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm going. After 15 years of being frightened of flying and stuff like that, I finally just bit the bullet and go, I'm going bloody plane. But
Only hour
when
and a
I
half, isn't it, at the end of the day?
it'd be fine. But
Yeah.
with this regression, it
Mm.
opened me up to I read the Gnostic texts and the forbidden Bibles and stuff like that. And there was a part in it about when Jesus, I believe it. This is just off the top of my head. Jesus had taught Mary Magdalene that when you pass away, you have to be against these ascended masters, and they're going to try and get you to reincarnate again, but you have to basically fight back to become eternal and not actually come back again. Is
Mm.
there a fragment of truth to that? Because I'm not being funny. If I'm stood up against like some 7 foot beefy ascended master, do you really think I'm going to fight him to get it? I'll be like,
I
oh,
I I've heard the train of belief that there is a soul trap. Personally, I don't vibe with it. I think we're all here by
mm.
choice. We're all here
Apparently the
because we've
light going into the light's the soul
I've
trap.
I've
Yeah.
heard I've heard of that, but with it, what we're doing here is we're not trapped. We're not here by chance. There's no coincidences and there's no conspiracies really. We're a lot more powerful than that. And
Mm.
we're the masters that we refer to, people like Serapis Bey, Jesus, Anubis, Kuan Yin, Isis, all of these beautiful souls that have elevated themselves to positions where they are vibrating at a high enough frequency to be able to help people on Earth. There's aspects of that in every single one of us. We're holding that light, that frequency, and we've just chosen to incarnate in a human body this time round. But we've got the same level of palmares to have got here in the first place. And the work that we are doing now will be spoken about and written into text for generations to come.
Yeah.
So I think we're underestimating really just how much power that we have within our individualities and our soul levels. So we're
Yeah.
not in any trap here. We're here because we have been allocated this task of transforming a planet, which is a massive undertaking when you think about what's actually going on here. And this master incarnation that we are all participating in
Mm.
carries more spiritual acceleration or benefits for the end of it, which is why it's so difficult apart from anything else. You don't get sent on holiday and then given a like, a reward at the end of it. We're here to do the work, then go on holiday afterwards if we choose to do so. So it's an important we've got an important role down here, each and every one of us, but I don't think that we're going to need to be fighting ascended masters at the pearly gates not to come back down here again. I think that's
No, I think well, with my sort of fire in my heart, I think, if that did happen, I'd be like, "I ain't coming back, mate. No thanks. Like, I
yeah,
cannot do this life again." Like, if they said to me, I mean, I could just imagine it now, being sat with a load of, like, angels, family members, people part of your spirit team, and we all
yeah,
sitting there having a bit of a jolly, and then we're going, "Do you know what? Would be so funny. Amy, you're gonna go to Earth, you're gonna be a job jumper, you're just gonna, like, never fit in anywhere." And I'd be like,
yeah,
"All right then, crack on, mate, let's go for it." And you're gonna have really, like, honestly, just some of the things that I've experienced, I'm like, I agreed to that pre-life. Like, why would I do that? But I
yeah,
think actually, if you don't go through awful situations, you kind of live in somewhat of a cotton wool life, and then you're going to end up. I mean, I'm very jealous, and jealousy is something that I deal with. It is a very much an emotion that I struggle with. Like,
mhm,
we agreed to this life before we come here, and it's just kind of like I say I argue with myself a lot. Like, these people that have got relatively normal lives, they go through normal stuff. They don't go through heartache, and they meet the right guy, they get married, everything's great for them. And I'm like, I've been giving my heart to the wrong people for years and years and years. And it's like so bloody frustrating that you become so accustomed to not wanting to ever go out with anybody again.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you believe that some souls are just genuinely, they don't have a soulmate and that's just that? Or do you think that,
I think I think where we are on the pathway at the moment, with the level of wake up and the level of spiritual evolution that's occurring, is that some people have got a lot of stuff to work through,
mm,
and for women it is particularly difficult because they've been leading the ascension process. If you look at the numbers, again, like referring to percentages,
yeah,
there's a lot more awakened women on this world than there are
there is
men.
indeed.
And and quite naturally, the bridge between like the ego and the heart has been a lot shorter for women, whereas men, there's a lot more work to do. It's like there's a chasm to kind of cross and to work through.
Mm,
So there's a lot of people that are being left high and dry because they haven't got anybody that matters. Again, it's all about frequency. It's all about, you're not going to, unless you are wanting to help somebody work through all of the crap and the shadows that they've got coming up. So you've got this mismatch in energies, and I don't think that's
constant.
going to last forever. But that's where we are at the moment. People are, and believe should be, focusing on healing and nurturing themselves before they're looking at being with other people at the moment. That's
Yeah,
kind of just naturally how I feel. It's all about
I mean, so.
healing the self, healing the self. Otherwise, you're going to wind up in fractured circumstances. It's the same with communities. If you
Mm,
look at a lot of what constituted communities, particularly in the 90s and the 2000s, you basically get, say, 30 to 50 or maybe even 100 people come together because they had completely rejected society. But the majority of them are damaged. They've been damaged by the system. They've
mm,
been damaged by their lives. They've been damaged by their circumstances. And they come together and everything's funky for 6 weeks. It's the honeymoon season. Then all their shit starts to come to the surface,
yeah.
and the whole and the communities fall apart. So what we're seeing now is healed people coming together. We're seeing healed communities, people that have done the work, people that have taken responsibility. That's a massive difference, and it's the same with interpersonal relationships. Some people are never going to fit together. It's a square shape and a round hole. And that's the way it is. And I saw a lot of relationships, families, jobs, everything fly apart
Mm.
when the ascension process began in 2012. It was endemic 2013, 2014. Everything, it's like torpedoes within houses and families and friendships. And again, we saw that in 2020 when
Yeah.
the division of consciousness was so visible. But now I can see it all coming back together again. Healed people are beginning to reconnect, and it's beautiful to witness. Just needed a little bit of time and patience.
I've seen people actually be married for 20 odd years and then just completely grow apart.
Yeah,
And having worked with somebody that was married for 20 years, and she says, it felt like we both became different people.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think that's a big factor because you can be right compatible at the beginning
yeah.
and then the cracks form. And then it's like, oh, we're not compatible anymore
No,
because it just doesn't work. And that's okay. And I think because we are in such an old-fashioned thing where, well, our grandparents stayed together, but that was the norm back then. Even if
it
they weren't
was.
happy, they had to stay together. And thank God we are in a position now where we can explore that and say, okay, we're
Yeah,
not working, let's call it quits and actually be okay with that. But I think, like I say, I think a lot of the time people are just so confused by this kind of stuff. So I think the final question would be to wrap it up. If somebody's starting on their ascension
mm,
process and they think, okay, I've woke up, I'm doing all this, I'm contacting the right people, and they come into these roadblocks, like these
mm.
brick walls, like I've got several. How would you tell somebody to navigate that so that they don't feel like they're losing their mind?
I find the best way to assist somebody that's going through that is break down what's actually occurring, because it
Mm,
takes you from a place of victimhood to understanding. It doesn't
yeah.
necessarily make the experience any easier, but understanding what you're going through is paramount. Otherwise, you just think you are being tossed around in the washing machine of a vindictive universe, basically. And so, understanding that you are tested every time you shift vibration. Okay, this is what a lot of people kind of like. Oh my god, really? When you tell them this, every time you up level up, every time you pass through a gateway of initiation, you've passed your test, you've done the difficult thing, you've said the difficult words, you've experienced the unpleasant
Mm,
experience and come out shining. You'll get a tiny little bit of respite to grow into that frequency. You'll receive the information, you'll begin to embody that version of yourself. There will then come another one, because that's how swiftly we're moving. And so if you explain to people why they're going through something and help them to understand the energy dynamics, and also the fact that they probably crafted that particular experience for themselves,
yeah,
it's, and but also to understand that this world is filled with wild cards, with jokers, and sometimes unpleasant things do happen.
yeah,
There's something that is on this world that's made it such a unique experience, and that is free will. I mean,
mm,
the free will too. You can come down here, the most shining, radiant example of the cosmic hierarchy that you can possibly be. Shine your wings, come down to earth. You you get wiped clean of all of that memory and connection initially. It's
yup,
your job to remember, but
yeah,
then you've got free will and you go staggering off in another direction completely, and nobody can tell you what to do because that's your experience. So there's all of these wild cards that occur on planet Earth that make it so different and special and interesting. And so helping people to understand why they're here, what their purpose is, what their soul calling might be, and the
yeah,
fact that they are needed, they're unique, they're loved, they're not alone. That's the most
exactly.
important thing.
No, and that makes perfect sense, and honestly, I would say to anybody that's watching now, please go and follow Tim. Go and
Oh,
look at what
thank
he
you.
does, all his work, because you've helped me, like, figure myself out. And even when I feel completely lost, you're like, well, actually, there's an answer for that. And I'm like, oh, yeah. So, yeah, it is really, really helpful. So, you've been an absolute, honestly, we could talk all day. I know we could. So, but no, I really appreciate it. Lovely. Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Amy. Thank you for inviting me on.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for listening, guys. You can find my podcast every Tuesday and Thursday. And don't forget to follow me on all social media platforms. See you next time.